Today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, I'm going to show you how to use your guitar processor for something other than guitar. So recently, I was trying to think of better ways to utilize my physical space that I have here in the rack. It's pretty tight. Everything has at least, 2 or 3 different uses. However, my hang up is my desk microphone that I have to talk to you guys goes through a Neve preamp and then into an outboard Warm 1176 hardware compressor into my Antelope Orion 32 Plus Gen 4 audio interface. And the 1176 takes up 2 rack spaces for a single channel. And I've just been thinking, I could do that better without having to buy something else. And I need to make this a little bit more streamlined as far as my processing that I want to do, but also just my setup time. My conclusion was this: if I put in the Fractal Axe-Fx in my desktop rack and then route my vocal mic to my Fractal and make it part of my demo patch that I have for all my guitar tone monitoring and bass tones, the Fractal could essentially pull double duty and also act as a channel strip for my vocal mic. I am using EQ, compression, and a noise gate, which I didn't have before, but I always really wanted to, for times when my neighbor was mowing the lawn and things like that. I just didn't have that capability before, so I would spend time manually cleaning up the quieter parts on my vocal track before editing my videos. And now I don't have to do that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, first, before we go any further, you don't have to have a Fractal Axe-Fx in order to do this. You can utilize this routing trick to use with any processor, really. The Quad Cortex in particular, it has phantom power on its XLRs, and it's really built for something like a vocal mic. However, I need phantom power for my shotgun mic, so I'm going into a Neve 1073, and then I'm going into the input number 2 of the Fractal, and then the output number 2 of the Fractal. And I am basically keeping these lanes totally separate, my guitar and my vocal chain, and I have my guitar plugged into the Fractal. I sound like this. Now, I am able to bring up Axe Edit 3, like I have in front of me, and I have my input, which automatically has a gate. I don't have to have a secondary gate. Typically, I'm not really using this. I have it on just so you guys can see how I would normally have the setup in case you don't have an automatic input gate. However, I would have a gate. I would have a parametric EQ just to fine tune my vocal mic as I want. And then I have a compressor, and that's it. And then going out the output number 2 into my interface. And that's what you were hearing me talk to you with this microphone. And in tandem, I have my regular guitar chain, my input 1 going to output 1. So these are 2 totally separate audio lanes, but any patch that I create or go to, or any scene that I go to, rather, I can go to my bass guitar scene. I then still have my vocal chain up, and that's unchanged, right? So while my guitars change, my vocal chain does not. This is also handy if you guys that stream a lot want to use your processor for your vocal, because if you want to mute during, gameplay or something like that, you can simply hit the tuner button and mute your microphone. How cool is that? Now, I want to stress that because I'm using the Fractal, which doesn't have phantom power on the XLR inputs, I am having to use a separate microphone preamp before I hit the Fractal, which is totally okay. I have one in the rack set up, and I've been using one anyway, so that's not a big deal. But for something like the Quad Cortex, which supplies phantom power, you don't necessarily need to do that, or you can simply use a dynamic mic and not a condenser microphone that requires power, and then you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But you don't necessarily have to have the preamp in front of the processor. So guys, try a vocal mic in line with your guitar processors, It's just super cool and you get a lot of sonic flexibility with it. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next time.